Okay, good morning Mom Healthy, good morning all of my friends. Thanks for time to our group, and today our group talk about the
CLL, Community Language Learning.
and I'm Maria Feni Nonggor.
And I'm Gabriela Posinti Febrianti.
Let's enjoy our presentation today. Okay, the first I will explain about the Community Language Learning Mastery Stages. There are 5 stages of mastery in CCL approach, namely the embryonic stage, self-assertion stage, birth stage, resolval stage, and independent stage. The embryonic stage is a stage where the student's depends on the teacher is very large. At this stage, the teacher is asked with the emulating or reducing students' negative feelings by providing proper guidance and counseling. The teacher explains what activities are expected and gives students time to reflect on their experience. Self-assertion stage is the stage where students have received moral support from their classmates to use English together and identify unspeakers of that language. At this stage, students have begun to dare to break away from their teacher a little and use English directly with other friends. And then birth stage. This is the stage where students gradually begin to reduce the use of their mother tongue. He has begun to feel his habit of using English, and this creates a sense of security with them. Referral stage is the stage where the relationship between students and teachers has reached a level of mutual trust. It no longer feels a physiological barrier, and this mutual trust is also found among other students. In this fourth stage, the students are no longer silent during learning meetings as in the first stage, but are no more active and lively conversation. Independent stage is the stage where students have mastered all the learning materials. At this stage, students expand their English language and learn also the social and cultural aspect of native speaker. And then I would like to explain about CCL implementation techniques. Because in CCL, the relationship between students and teacher is a therapeutic relationship between a client and his counselor. The classroom and the learning process are different from conventional classes and methods. In CCL, it is recommended that each class consists of 6 to 12 clients, and each client has a counselor. The arrangement of tables and chairs is made in such a way that it forms a kind of circle. The counselor is behind the client. Other arrangement can also be made by for example, the counselor is another room and is connected to each client through electronic media. The CCL does not use any text. Clients come to start their class by sitting around a table, and they are free to choose what topics they will talk about that day. At the end of the lessons, the recording of the conversation is hard to be pondered and internalized. At this time, counseling is also held by counselor. In the next class, the client decides again the topic they will talk about and so on. In CCL, teaching aids are used, but these tools are not just to practice drills and other exercise, but to increase self-confidence. In other words, Communicative language learning is a combination of innovative learning with conventional learning, namely translation. The students whispers and message he will say, the teacher translates into the target language and the student repeat the teacher's translation. And the second is working group. Students can engage the in-group tasks such as group discussion on the topic, preparing conversation, preparing topic summaries for presentation to other groups, preparing a story to be presented to the teacher and all students. The third is recording. Students record conversation in the target language. The fourth, transcription. Students write down their utterance and conversation and then record them to practice and analyze linguistic forms. Next, analysis. Students analyze study the transcription of target language sentence to focus on certain lexical or on application of certain grammatical rules. And then reflection and observation. Students reflect and report on experience in their class or in groups. This happens as an expression of feelings for each other and convert for something to say and so on. And then listen. Students listen to monologues by teacher that involve elements of them in classroom interactions. And the last is free conversation. Students engage in free conversation with the teacher or other students. This may include a discussion of what they learned as well as their feelings about what was learned.
Okay, I will continue to explain of learning implementations. The first, one class consists of 6 until 11 students sitting in the circle. Second, the teacher greets, introduces himself, and invites students to get to know each other. Third, the teacher informs the student about what will be done, explain the produce, and set a time limit. Fourth, the teacher stands outside the circle from which the students are located. And then a type recorder is prepared to record student speech, with each recording only the speech of the target language being studied, which will later be transcribed. 6. Students have the conversation. A student pronounces the message aloud in the first language. The teacher stands behind the student. The next, the teacher gives a message in the target language. The next, the student repeats the message aloud to students using a second language. And the last, this process is the repeated and recorded. In this process, the teacher also tells the remaining time for the conversation. After that, the students are finishing. They are invited to talk about their feeling. During the conversation, the teacher understands and accepts everything that expressed by the student. The next, the saying are played again, translate into the first language. 12. Students are asked to make the semicircle facing the blackboard and the record utterance are transcribed. Next, in the human-computers TM activity, students choose which phrase they want to practice pronunciations. The teacher follows what the student wants, repeating the phrase until the student is satisfied and stops. Next, in other meetings, students can also work together in the small groups, 3 people. And the last, if there are errors, the teacher provides corrections by correctly repeating the sentence that have been made by students. And then, advantages and disadvantages. The first, the advantages of the community language learning or CLL is will make the person accustomed the discussing so the verbal and communication skill are trained. This will make him accustomed to speaking and expressing opinions, not only the ability to speak, study, and discussion with group will train one listening skills. The second, the disadvantage of community language learning or CLL is that there are still many teachers who do not have the ability to become counselor because they require certain training. This method does not rely on the curriculum and manual. This method relies on the wishes of the student as well as aspect of the destination language and culture which the student lack mastery of. This method does not pay attention to individual difference among students because it pays attention to the human side of speaking skills and neglects academic aspect and writing skills. And the last is conclusion. Community language learning is the most responsive method in the term of sensitivity for students. The goals of this community are hyped by the number and knowledge of the fellow students. The teacher must be sensitive to the first language and the second language. The teacher must be ready to accept and even encourage students to be aggressive because he is trying to be free. Teachers teaching without conversation material depend on students' topic to motivate the class. A group of students sit in circle with the teacher standing outside the circle. Students whisper in the native language while the syllabus, which makes goals clear and evaluation difficult to achieve. In focus on fluency rather than accuracy, leading to inadequate control of the target language. The positive benefit of the method is that it's the learning centered and emphasizes the humanistic side of language learning and not just the language eliminations.
Okay, I think that's all about our presentation about community language learning. Happy watching!